So I got many feelings, but I do not feel like quitting. Because quitting makes too much sense to my flesh. And guess what? It's too easy. And greatness is never easy. He is helping us to see that these things you're dealing with, these pain, these contractions you're having, is because something great is about to come out of this. But there is a problem. Somebody said there's a problem. And here is what it is. The problem is in this. There's 3 steps that comes to bringing forth. The problem isn't in the birth. Because some of us have been going through these hard times, and all you've been able to produce is quit. All you've been able to produce is weakness. But I have seen some people go through some amazing things and produce a level of faith. When you think they should quit, I know they're not going to make it. They sitting here like, I know you didn't show up for a funeral for me. I tell you what, this hurt, I'm going to go through it, but here's what I plan on doing. I plan on making it. Now that's what, nobody talking to me. So, but there's a generation of believers that has been going through the process of greatness and have not been able to birth anything. There's another problem. It's not in the birth. It's not even in the pregnancy, the process. It's in the conception. See, because it is at the place of conception, that's the place of intimacy. And we prophesy, bring forth, but do not teach intimacy. Because the way faith is presented now is presented off of the context of reward, not relationship. Okay. And so God is telling me that the problem is not at birth, it's at conception. You have not drawn away enough to get pregnant by me. It's at getting what I have for you, that close walking relationship with God. All right. Because I want you to live with it and walk with it. I'm still living. But Mary is a virgin. There's 2 sides to preach that. I can't get stuck there. Because when we hear virgin, we all go to sex. That's what we go to. We go to sex. But I just want to ask a question from another point of view. Is it possible that when it comes to fulfilling the promise of God in your life, you're still a virgin? Is it possible that you have yet to lose your virginity to the supernatural? All you produce in the earth is what you can. You have yet to really produce what you can. Touch somebody and tell them you need to lose your virginity. You need to bring forth the supernatural. Come on, I need some help here. This is meaty here. Tell your neighbor there's more in you. Nobody wants to help me, but there's more in you than just coming to church. There's more in you to just believe in God to answer this. Now let's see. I'm gonna pick. I'm gonna bring back. I'm gonna come back. There'll probably be a series sometime in February. But how? Let me pick out some. Let me pick some corn out of this for you. Because it is meat. The chunks are too heavy. Here's what you need to do in this time. We need the spiritual comprehension. Understand? We lack the understanding we need for where we are. See, some of us, we think God is punishing us. And we don't have the spiritual comprehension to understand He's processing us. Nobody trying to help me here. I'm trying not to get into my watch night message, but every major business I know had a major loss before they went into a record-breaking season. and tell somebody you are on your way to a record-breaking season. But first, you got to lose more than you've ever lost, because you're about to gain more than you've ever gained. If anybody believes it, I need you to shout in here. There is a comprehension that is needed, a spiritual questioning that must happen. Now I'm walking on my grandmama's toes, because she told me you don't question God, boy. You don't ask God why or how. But look at this story. Mary did. Look at your neighbor and say, ask God the right question. She said, how shall this be that I will bring forth? Come on, can you let me run through it? How shall this be? Tell your neighbor, ask God. This ain't a question of disbelief. This is a question of information. I need to know if you're going to do something supernatural. Please tell me how, so I don't miss you, so I don't mess it up. And we have need of information, not how you're going to get a better job, but how God is going to get you from point A to point B in the spirit. Let me give you some baked chicken. One, Mary was picked because she had a relationship with God. Now get this. We like to say she was a virgin. That means she ain't had none yet, to some of us. But she was not the only virgin. Nobody talking to me. She was not the only virgin. She was a virgin with a relationship with God. Can I help church folk? Everyone that's not having sex ain't holy. And if you would stop thinking you're holy just because you're not having sex and realize there's a whole nother level of sin for believers. You might not be having sex, but you don't pray either. You don't worship either. You don't have no prayer life, no intimacy with God. Because she wasn't a nun. She was just a girl holding out. But while she was holding out, she was clinging close. He found her worthy. Ain't nobody helping me. I'm teaching the book. He found. Tell your neighbor, in this season, make sure God finds you worthy. And he did not calculate how many Sundays she came to church. She did not calculate how many times she tithed or give. He calculated how many times she got up at 5 a.m. and prayed with nobody telling her. How many times she turned down her plate and sat with. He found her worthy. And I know everybody can't grab this, but is there anybody, this is your heart's cry? I just want him to find me worthy. I want him, if you're looking for somebody to do something supernatural through, I want you to do it through me. But see, some of us, we only want that because we want the spotlight. But I really want it because I want to please you. He found her worthy. Can I give you another question? Just because I want you to go home and work this yourself, you see. How many possibilities have you missed? How many possibilities for the supernatural have you missed? Because you've got a close relationship with church and people of church and the things of church and not God. And I hope when I say stuff like that, people don't think I'm downgrading church. This is the gateway to the kingdom. Understand? So there ain't no difference in that. But how many encounters with Gabriel have you missed? Because you ain't even got that type of relationship. How many visitations have you not had? When I read stuff like this, I'm beginning to wonder, well, how come you ain't seen me yet? Thank you. That's my Chuck Town. She knows she ain't gonna never leave me standing by myself. Y'all don't read stuff like this and wonder, where my visitation at? Touch your neighbor and say, if you haven't had a visitation yet, you're too far. You've lost your cloud. if you can't see them from where you are, you in the wrong. Oh, Lord. Attorney James, get me out of here. Because they don't want to help me preach this house. If you mean ain't nothing strange happened to you since you've been saved? God ain't called you to do nothing that might make you look like an idiot? Let me get back. I got to get out. Because here's our problem. We're too normal. And we were never put on this earth to be normal. He says we are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a peculiar. Can I bring the church up on some charges? We fit too well in the world. How many supernatural appointments have you missed because you lack the intimacy with God? He picked her because she had a relationship with him, and God said, out of all the people I've been considering, I've evaluated, and Mary can carry me. I know you want to hear, can you stand to be blessed? But my question to you going into 2014, can you carry God? I'm going to give it to her because her relation, she won't get something from me and leave me for it. Why God won't trust me to be a millionaire and a billionaire and to do the things I know I've been chosen to be great in the earth? God can't bless you with a multi-million-dollar industry when he can't trust you to carry him. The earth does not need one more unsaved billionaire. The earth is moaning and groaning for millionaires that's talking in tongues, that's filled with the Holy Ghost. Touch your neighbor, ask him, can you carry him? Can you carry him? Can you carry him? And we are creatures of habit, whether we believe it or not. We are creatures of habit. And the story here of Mary is a woman who is in construction of her own life. She says, now I'm going to get married, but the way I get married is that I remain a virgin and I let a man pick me. Or I let my family, or, at that time they picked me. And so I picked one. His name is Joseph. All right? This is her dream. She's going through the magazines looking for wedding gowns because this is her dream. And when we get married, we're going to have 3 kids. Okay? We're going to have 3 for the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. Halamashanda. And we're going to have 2 cars. We're going to have 3 cars. 1 for me, 1 for him, and then 1 for Sunday go to meeting. See, y'all don't know about that. The young folk don't know about that. That's the old classic car or something where kids can't even get in this one. They got to ride church with grandmama because after church, you and your man, y'all can go ride around. Yeah, girl, me and my man, we just ride around. That's what that is. Yeah, I'm finna take my lady out here to the water. That's a ditch, sir. That ain't a lake. You do not own a waterfront property. But she was in construction. Now here's the problem with us. We give God our life, but we remain in charge of construction. And we are convinced if anything interrupts construction, it's not God. When this story helps me to know, divine interruption usually breaks down your own construction. Because you mean to tell, I don't want nothing wrong. But why can't I just have it the way everybody else had? Elizabeth got married and had a baby after. Why I got to have a baby? Why do I have to conceive before I'm even married? Why do I have to birth something under controversy? But look at your neighbor and say, it's still a virgin birth. But do you have the strength to conceive a divine interruption? Something that is nothing like what you've had planned. But everything you've had planned has to work around it. It's a divine interruption. And you know the problem with most of us? We refuse to be interrupted. And we've been treating God like he's a hater. See, I know this is the devil because they want me to do what I'm called to do. And I'm going to do it because I've been dreaming about this. I know this is, no, sometimes it's God. Let me interrupt your little regularly scheduled program here. Because you're carrying something. And I want to know, can you carry me? Tell somebody it's an interruption. But do you have the strength to conceive? Mary had enough strength to conceive God. Our generation isn't failing at birthing alone, at pregnancy and process alone. We're failing at the place of intimacy with God, conceiving. We've got born-again, spirit-filled believers more pregnant with issues than God. More pregnant with what you don't like about the church than where God has anointed you to take the church. We are struggling because we don't have the strength to conceive. I just was talking to one of my best friends into 2014. Because God is requiring for each and every one of us to give birth to a change of plans. The world was on its way to hell. Y'all acting like I'm not. And Mary gives birth to a change of plans. God's people was considered one type of people. And everybody else, oh well. But Mary gives birth to a change of plan that says there's no more Jew nor Gentile. There's no more male nor female. Look at your neighbor and say, I know the way things have been. And they might have been that way a long time. But you and me are about to give birth to a change of plans. I know everybody in your family's been alcoholics for years, but I'm about to give birth to a change of plans. I know the doctor told you had a few more months, but touch your neighbor and say, I'm about to give birth to a change of plans. Nobody in my family circle, nobody in my friendship circle has ever answered a call, but I'm about to give birth to a change of plans. Touch two people and say, new direction. Same way in a new direction. Because everybody on Appalachia is not going to Walmart. Look at your neighbor and say, same way, but new direction. I'm aiming further. I'm aiming higher. I'm aiming closer. Change of plan. Everybody standing. I want you to take this. It's food for thought. Food for thought. Just one of those words that I was like, I'm going to say what you say, Lord, and it didn't grab me till 2:30 last night. And I said, ooh, I'm going to say what you say. And he said, Lamar, don't get out of hand. I said, okay. Teach my principles. because I don't want nobody to dance through this. I want you to decide, make a decision with this. How does this happen? How does this happen? How does this happen? After she asked her questions, the first one was, what's going on here? Why are you coming at me like this? Don't be afraid. It's cool. Second is, okay, you saying I'm going to bring forth? How can I when I don't know a man? It's hard for people that know men to know God. Because we've got so much of other people in our spirits that we have very little room to conceive the supernatural. I'll be so glad when you stop being what you did and you start being who's in you. Two questions. Why are you coming at me like this? And how shall this be? But there was a response. After you told me there is no place in me that you have not functioned. There's no place in me that you have not functioned. And ladies and gentlemen, walking from this altar does not mean you walk away perfect. But coming to this altar and doing the work at this altar and at the altar of your everyday life means walking away and saying there will be no place in my life where he has not functioned. He will be omnipresent in me. And at thy word, let it be. Let it be. Let it be. Father, fill us with the knowledge of your will, with our wisdom and spiritual understanding. Make us worthy of you, fully pleasing you, and constantly fruitful in every good work. Strengthen us with all might according to your excellent power. And we'll forever give thanks to you for qualifying us to be partakers of the inheritance of the saints in the light. In Jesus' name we pray. As the Levites continue to play and sing the song of the Lord birthed from this word, I want you to just embrace God and go back to your seat, or if you stay up and worship, just embrace this moment of worship with the Lord. Come on, this intimacy time, this with you and him. You can stay up here, whatever you want to do, this intimacy time with you. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Come on, everybody in the house, grab the song of the Lord, sing it. Come on, grab it. This song is the sentiment of our heart. At thy word, let it be, let it be. What you want me to be, what you called me to be, let it be. You've always called me to be the head and not the tail. Peculiar. You've always. And I can hear you. I can hear you calling me. I can hear you calling me to a deeper place in you. Let it be. Come on. Let it be. Let it be. revel in the spirit right here. I want what you want from me. I want what you want from me. How many people say that's the sentiment of your heart? Even if it's unusual, if it's the... Because I want what you want from me.